May I request everyone to please stand for our prayer. So Paul kindly lead the prayer. Amen. So good morning, class. Good morning, students. How are you today? Well, I'm very glad that every one of you seems fine this morning. So are you ready with our discussion? Very good. But before that, let us check your attendance first. So is anyone absent from our class today? Very good. So everybody is present. So kindly give a hand for everyone. So now, let's proceed to the recap of our past lesson. So who can give me a recap on what we discussed last meeting? Yes, Glory Grace? Very good. So yesterday, we tackled about what is natural resources. So we were able to define what is a natural resource. So can anyone give me an example of natural resources? Yes, Aaron? Very good. Aside from plants. Very good. So those different natural resources that we have said earlier are one of the different natural resources that we have in our country. Aside from natural resources, what were we discussed last meeting? Very good. So last meeting, we were able to identify the two categories of natural resources, and those are very good. So the renewable resources and the non-renewable resources. So who can give me or who can differentiate the two categories of natural resources? Yes, Naomi? Very good. So when we say renewable resources, so those are resources which can be replenished in a short period of time. Thank you, Naomi. So who can give me an example of renewable resources? Very good. So how about the non-renewable resources? So those are the different natural resources which cannot be replenished in a short period of time. So it usually takes thousands or even millions of years to replenish. So some of those examples of non-renewable resources are the soil, the fossil fuels, the coals, and many others. So those are the different non-renewable resources. So very good. Everybody has learned something from our discussion last meeting. So I guess everybody is ready for our new discussion this morning. But before that, before we proceed to our discussion, I have here a video clip, and I want you to look on the board because later on, after we watch the video clip, so I will ask you some questions regarding to the video that I will be going to show you. Okay.
Fossil fuels, we know them today as a key culprit behind the climate crisis.
Environmental pollution contributed to the... Dr. Lambergan points out that the gross domestic...
Now, what was the video all about? So from the video that you have watched, yes, Glory Grace, what was the video all about? Very good. So the first few minutes shows the different natural resources that we have. So we have there some forests, some different biodiversity or the different species. So it just shows how wonderfully God made our environment. And for the half of the video, so it shows the different what? Very good. The different human activities that destroys our natural resources. So how did you feel in watching the video? What did you feel upon watching that video? Okay, why are you sad? Why are you disappointed? Yes, very good. So based on the video, what are some of the human activities that you've seen that destroys our environment? Yes, we have there throwing of garbages everywhere. So have you seen on the video? So overseas, there are lots of plastics. Our surroundings has lots of garbages like plastics. Aside from that, yes, so wildfire, we have different factories, and some of their waste are being thrown on the different bodies of water. So those are just some of the different human activities that we've seen on the video that destroys our environment. Okay, so how does that following activities affects our environment? Say for example, from the videos that we've seen, so the forests are being burnt down. So what do you think will be the effect of our environment with that kind of human activity? Yes, Maria Luz? So yes, we will experience floods and landslides, since trees are very important in order for us to prevent floods and even landslides. Aside from that, very good. So animals will lose their habitat. So those animals that consider the forest as their habitats, of course, they will lose their shelter or habitat. And another one. Yes, Paul? So the different species of animals that lives in the forest will also die. Very good. So how about if more factories are being built to keep up with the demands of a fast-growing population and industrialization? So what do you think will happen or will be the effect of our environment if more factories are being built? Yes? Jeremiah? Yes, we will experience water populations, as what we have seen on the video, that most of the factories throws their garbage on the different bodies of water. Say for example, on the sea. So what will happen to the sea? What will happen to our water if ato nila ipanglabay ang ilang mga waste? Of course, we will experience water pollution. So aside from that, so it worsened the pollution, since factories are one of the major causes in the destruction of our ozone layer. So that is why we will experience also air pollution if more factories are being built on our environment. Next, what if plastics and other garbages are being thrown anywhere? So what do you think will be the effect? Yes, negative effects on human health. Very good, Jiraya. So we will also experience negative effect on our health. Aside from negative effects on human health, we also have land pollution. Yes, we will also experience land pollution if garbages are being thrown anywhere. Aside from that, aside from negative effects to our health, aside from land pollution. So yes, Glory. Very good. So it may kill the animals. Have you seen on the news that some of the animals, say for example, the whales, nangamatay? So as what they have observed nga sa ilahang gipangkaon na dito are some plastics. So that is one of the effect whenever we throw our garbage everywhere. Okay, so what do you think will happen to our environment if people kept on destroying or overusing our natural resources? Yes, Maria Luz, what do you think will happen to our environment? Very good. So time will come, all of the biodiversity will be extinct. So time will come nga manggahurot ng atong different species of animals. Aside from that, yes, very good. So time will come, we will also suffer from the consequences of our actions. Since one of the main reason why we experience or why our natural resources is destroyed is because of our activities, because of the human activities. And time will come, we will also suffer from the consequences of our actions. So as a student and as a citizen, what will you do in order to help sustain our natural resources? Yes, Naomi, what will you do as a student that could help sustain our natural resources? Yes, by planting more trees. Aside from that, Yes, by taking good care of our natural resources, meaning to say, so one of the things that we can do is to protect and conserve our natural resources. So our topic this morning is all about protection and conservation of our natural resources. So what do you mean by conservation? Yes, Aaron, do you have any idea what is conservation? Very good. Meaning by taking good care of our environment. Yes, you have your idea. How about the other? Yes, Paul? So it is the protection of animals, plants, and natural resources. Very good. So when we say conservation, it is the proper management of a natural resource to prevent its exploitation, destruction, or degradation. Meaning to say, from what you have defined or what your definition about conservation is, meaning when we say conservation is just by taking good care of our environment or our natural resources by what? By managing it or by using it properly in order to prevent its exploitation, in order to prevent the natural resources to be destroyed or even degrade. That is what you call conservation. So why do we need to conserve? So what is the reason why conservation is a must? Yes? Very good. So as the human population is continuously growing, also the consumption of natural resources is also increasing. Do you agree with that, students? Yes, because day by day our population or our human population is continuously growing, meaning to say nag-anam sad og kataas ang atoang consumption of natural resources. Say for example, the foods that we consumed every day, since every day we have to eat in order for us to survive. And where can we get our food? Yes, from our natural resources. And that is one of the reasons why, yes, the consumption of our natural resources is also increasing. So with increasing industrialization and urbanization of the modern human society, the use of all the resources is also rising. So if they are not properly used or they are not properly conserved and well managed, so a serious scarcity of our natural resources will result. So that is why we need to conserve our natural resources. So there is an urgent need to conserve the nature. So some of the needs are, first, everybody read. Yes, to maintain ecological balance in order to support life. So what do you mean by ecological balance? From the word balance and ecology. Yes, Aaron, do you have any idea? Okay, you have your point. So when we say ecological balance, it is a term used to describe the equilibrium between living organisms such as plants, animals, human beings, as well as their environment, or as well as the environment that we live in. For example, plants utilizes carbon dioxide. We all know that plants needed carbon dioxide through photosynthesis, since carbon dioxide is needed for the plants to grow, and releases oxygen to the atmosphere, which is also utilized by the animals for respiration. So meaning, plants need carbon dioxide that they could get from the animals or even as human beings, and also releases oxygen. That is one of the things that is very needed to the animals and even as humans in order to breathe. That is, and in this way, plants and animals are complementary to each other and maintain the ecological balance of nature. So that is why it is very important for us to maintain ecological balance in order to support life. Kung dili na balance ang atong ecology, time will come na all of the natural resources will also die. Yes? Second, to preserve the different kinds of species like our animals or the different biodiversity. So conservation is needed to preserve our biodiversity and also to make the resources available for present and future use. And don't you know, students, that is one of the reason why we need today to exercise conservation and protection of our natural resources in order for our future generations to enjoy using our natural resources, which we also enjoyed today. Yeah. What if dili na to i-conserve, so time will come, they will never enjoy using it because we tend to overexploit or use or destroy our natural resources. So, number 4, it also needed to ensure the survival of human race. Not just human race, but the different natural resources. So those are some of the reasons why we need to conserve our natural resources. So now, how could you protect or conserve our natural resources? So what are the ways that you can do in order to conserve our natural resources? Yes, Maria Luz? Yes, very good. Aside from that, yes, Aaron? Very good. So those are the different ways in order for us to conserve our natural resources. So I have also here some ways on how we could protect or conserve our natural resources. So first one, so we have here the tips to save our water, since water is one of the most essential natural resources that we have today. So the first is to avoid leakage of water from the tap. So always check your taps if there are some leakages. So in that way, we can help to conserve our water. Aside from that, we could also turn the tap off when not in use, especially when we are brushing our teeth and washing our clothes. And one of the most effective ways in order for us to conserve our water is the use of rainwater harvesting method. So in that simple way, we could help to conserve our water. So aside from that, yes, we could also stop illegal logging and start planting more trees. And we also have here the methods of conserving our soil. So we have 3 methods on how we could conserve our soil. So the first one, we have here the crop rotation. So what do you mean by crop rotation from the pictures I have presented to you? Yes, Naomi? Very good. So when we say crop rotation, it simply implies planting of cereals. So we have cereals. So what are some of the examples of cereals? So we have corns, aside from corns, wheats, oats, barleys, and many others. So those are examples of cereals and legumes. So we also have some legumes such as peanuts, peas, beans, etc. So meaning to say, when we talked about crop rotation, it just simply means that it is a method of planting some cereals and legumes alternately in the same planting field. So that is a crop rotation. For example, so since Paul, so let's say Paul planted a field of corn. So si Paul na ay tinanong diha nga corn, which is a cereal. So when the corn harvest is finished, once Paul harvested his corn, is filled, or lot which is filled with corn, so he might plant some legumes after that on the same field which he has planted corn. So that is an example of crop rotation. So why do you think it's necessary to plant those two crops, which is the cereal and the legumes, alternately in the same planting field? So why is it necessary? And how does it help conserve our soil? Yes, Maria Luz? Very good. It's because cereals usually consumes lots of nitrogen that they can get from the soil. So meaning to say, if balik-balik ra nato tanom ang cereal, so time will come that the quality of our soil magkaanam jud og ka degrade. So it's necessary to plant legumes after, since legumes are good nitrogen fixers. So in that way, legumes will return the nitrogen in the soil. So it improves soil health. It also optimizes nutrients in the soil. That is why crop rotation is a very good method in order for us to conserve our soil. And aside from that, it could also combat pest and wood pressure. So, do you understand what is crop rotation? Very good. So, let's proceed to our next method of conserving soil, which is the mulching. So, from the picture, what have you seen? So, very good. So, the plants is surrounded by... Yes, so that is what you call mulching. So when we say mulch, it refers to a layer of material applied to the surface of the soil where you planted some trees, aside from trees, or even vegetables. So meaning to say, when we talked about mulching, it refers to the process of putting a layer of material such as shredded wood or even leaves or uhot, or even uhot, which we usually applied in our plants or trees. So how does mulching helps conserve our soil? So first, it helps to return soil moisture. So less amount of water is also required during irrigation. So another way to conserve our water. Am I right, student? Yes, aside from conserving our soil, so we could also conserve our water through the use of mulching. The second one, yes, it also helps to regulate soil temperature, which is beneficial for proper root growth. And also, it also improves the fertility and health of our soil. So if mulch is organic, which is organic, when we say organic, so kung mga uhot or leaves ang ato ang gibutang sa ato ang that surrounds our plants, so such as decaying leaves, as what I have said earlier, so it adds to the overall humus content of our soil and enriches the soil with steady supply of nutrients. That is why mulching is also a great way in order for us to conserve our soil. Next, we also have the third one is the strip cropping. So what do you mean by strip cropping? Look at the picture. So when we say strip cropping, it is a method of farming used when a slope is too steep or too long, or otherwise when one does not have an alternative method of preventing our soil from erosion. So strip cropping is one of the methods that can be used in order for our soils from to prevent our soil from soil erosion. So when one does not have an alternative method of preventing soil from erosion, so strip cropping method can be used. So certain layers of plants will absorb minerals and waters from the soil more effectively than others. So when water reaches the weaker soil, so kung na soil nga weak dito that lacks the minerals needed to make it stronger, so it normally washes the water away. So when strips of soil are strong enough to slow down water from moving through them, so the weaker soil can wash away like it normally would. So because of this, farmland stays fertile much longer. So strip croppings could help the soil to stop from having soil erosion, and also to preserve the strength of our soil. So what are the three methods of conserving our soil? So we have the crop rotation, aside from that, the mulching, and the strip cropping. So always remember, students, that to conserve natural resources is also to protect or use them wisely without wasting or using them up completely. It doesn't mean that in order for us to protect or conserve our natural resources is to not use them at all. Because God gave natural resources for us to use. But we have to conserve it, or we have to use it wisely in order for it to not be overexploited. So we have to take good care of our natural resources. So conserving natural resources can make them last long and be available for our future generations. So that is what sustainability of natural resources means. So each one of us should think about how to make our things sustainable. So am I right, students? Very good. So again, why do we need to conserve our natural resources? Yes? Very good. Always remember that natural resources is very needed for us. It's very important. That is why conservation of our natural resources is also needed. So for your application, I want you to go to your respective groups, since we already have our groups. So kindly just go to your assigned area silently. And what you're going to do is you just cite how important protecting and conserving our natural resources by the different methods. So group 1 will have the poster making. Group 2 will also have the role play, by having it role play. And for group 3, by making a poem. So I will just give you 5 minutes to do that activity. And later on, you will present that by group. Very good. So give a hand for everyone, because everyone is participating our activity this morning. So now, kindly get 1/4 sheet of paper for our test this morning. So direction, just put a happy face if the action or if the following action demonstrates sustainable practices to our environment or natural resources, and a sad face if not. So there are just only 5 human activities, so I will just give you 3 minutes, I guess, for our test. Okay, so let's try to check your answers. So kindly exchange your papers to your seatmates. So let's check. So the first one, identify if it is a sustainable practice, a sustainable practice to our environment. If burning of plastic is done to reduce waste, so is it sustainable or not? Very good. So your answer is a sad face. Next, planting new and young trees in depleted areas. Is it a sustainable practice? Very good. So what is your answer? A happy face. Very good. 3, using of showers instead of buckets when you're taking a bath. So what is your answer? Very good. So it's a sad face because it does not practice sustainability to our environment. Number 4, using organic waste materials as fertilizer of our soil. Very good. So it is a happy face. And the 5th one, exploring other energy resource as an alternate to fossil fuel. Very good. So it's a happy face. So who got perfect on our test this morning? Very good. It seems that everybody got a perfect score. So for your assignment, just kindly define the word atmosphere, students, because that will be our topic next meeting. So again, surely we have a responsibility to live for future generation, that is a planet that is healthy and habitable by all species. So we have to conserve and protect our natural resources in order for our future generations to use them enjoyably. So I guess our discussion ends here. So may I request everyone to please stand for the prayer. Amen. So goodbye, class.